On today's show, we're diving into using a life-first approach to goal setting for 2025.
Welcome to JFDI with the Two Lauras, the weekly podcast where we talk about all things related to working in social media, from marketing tips to making money, finding clients to firing them. And with a new year fast approaching, today we're talking about goal setting, but with a life-first approach. So we're sharing what that means and how you can use it to make sure that 2025 delivers exactly what you need. So let's start then with, what does life first mean when it comes to goal setting?
Sounds a bit woo-woo, doesn't it?
It does. That is a bit
But
woo
it's
for
not.
us. But it's not at all. Practical. It's practical.
Yeah, and I actually think more people possibly may do this anyway, but without realising. But it's basically thinking, what do I want to do? What is it, if you're looking at like next year, for example, what does my life look like in 2025? What do I want to achieve? Where do I want to go? What do I want to learn? Like, what does your life look like? What are your goals? And then you work backwards from that. So it's like, right, this is my plan. How the hell am I going to achieve this?
Yeah. And I think that, because that is the beauty, isn't it, of having your own business, you get to create something that works for you and around you for those life goals, for that life first approach.
Yeah.
You're not in a job. You're not being dictated to about when you work. You don't have those limitations.
Yeah, you've not got a set monthly income coming in from an employer. And you then, because that's how you would work, you would like, right, I'm going to earn this this is my salary for the next 12 months. So therefore, this is how I can spend it. The beauty is you can do the opposite. You can say, I want to do this. Now let's think about how we're going to make that money to be able to do that. And the world is your oyster.
Yeah. And I think a lot of freelancers and social media managers forget that, and they kind of fall back into a work first life, and it's not. Life should come first. You don't live to work, you work to live. And when you remind yourself of that and kind of plan your goals around your life and approach it with your life first, it makes it much easier to have that lovely life that you want. And it also means that you can be really motivated the whole time to achieve those things, because you know what's on the other side of all of that hard work.
Yeah. And that's, I think, when you're on a salary, it kind of doesn't matter how hard you work.
Yeah.
Well, obviously you could get sacked if you didn't work very hard, but as in you could like put in so much effort, but it doesn't change your salary at the end of the day. You're still going to get the same. And yes, I know that, that is a sweeping statement. I know people get bonuses. I know there's performance related pay, all that shit. But on the whole, as a freelancer, you have such more fluidity in your income based purely on how hard you want to work and how determined you are to get it. So if you have amazing plans for 2025, there is absolutely nothing stopping you getting those things and achieving those things and experiencing those things. There's no one who's going to sack you. There's no one who's going to have their opinion. It's all down to you. And I just think that's so exciting and motivating.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe a little bit daunting, but that's okay.
Yeah, but when you realise that it's only you that can hold yourself back, that's like, oh, okay, I can go out and I can do whatever it is I want to do.
Yeah.
And even in recent years, we've had economic downturns and, cost of living crisis and stuff. The people who've been really determined to kind of approach their life in this way have still had massive success.
Yeah.
The world around you doesn't limit what you can do.
Yeah. And we can all sit here and say, oh, but I can't get this success I need because Instagram algorithms shit. It's all, you are the only one who is responsible for whether you can achieve these things or not. Like, we can all make excuses till the cows bloody come home, but at the end of the day, the buck stops with you.
Yeah, exactly. It is all down to what you have or haven't done. Totally. Yeah. Okay, so how do we actually do this then? How do we start with this life first goal planning?
Well, you need to, and this is the best bit, you need to kind of sit down and think, right, what am I working towards? And thinking about your why and what it is. And if it's so you can take the summer off and travel the world and that's your why, and that's what you plan to do next year, then that you need to write this down. You need to literally write a list of all the things that you need the money for. So whether it's, you're getting married or or you want to travel, or there's a big birthday present you want to buy somebody, whatever that is, you want a fancy new computer, you've decided to come from Android over to the better side of Apple and want to kit yourself out with everything. It's just writing a list of everything you want to achieve.
Yeah, definitely. So I think start by writing down like all of the events. Like if you break this down, it makes it so much easier. So list out all of the events you've got planned for next year. Have you got any holidays, any trips, any days out, any big birthdays or weddings or anything like that you've got to go to? What are those things? Write them down. How much time do you need out of the business for those things? Like to actually make those things happen. Like, so for example, if you are going on holiday, you don't just need time out of business to go on holiday. You need time out of the business maybe to go and buy a new bikini, to go and do your packing, to go and buy whatever your kids need to actually book that holiday. What is all of the time that you're going to need to take out of the business, and put those dates in your diary now so you can plan for that. So actually I don't have this day free because that is my bikini day. I'm going to go and buy a new bikini that day. I don't know. I don't even wear a bikini. I don't know why that's really in my mind. But all of that stuff kind of needs to go in your diary. And then how much money do you need to make that happen? How much is that bikini going to be? You don't want to be scrimping and saving for a Primark one if the one you really want is a nice fancy one from a fancy shop that I can't think of the name of. So you don't have to scrimp and save when you goal set like this because you've made this plan in advance. Like, what does a good holiday budget look like?
It's not a goal, is it, if we just put down we're going to get a Primani bikini?
No, exactly. No.
You want to make it motivational. Like, we can all go on holiday and wear a Primark bikini. God help us. But that's not a goal, is it? The goal is you want to buy the high-end bikini brand that neither of us clearly know. So this is a crap example.
Yeah. But like if you're on holiday, like, yeah, we can all go on holiday, self-catering, live on a French stick with a bit of cheese in it. But really,
sounds amazing.
I mean, that does actually sound really good. But you might want to go on holiday and actually go and sit in a restaurant where someone has sliced that French bread and put some really nice cheese in it. Do you know what I mean? So like the budget for that holiday will look different depending on what it is you want to do. So what does a good holiday budget look like?
Yeah. It's aspirational, isn't it?
How much do you really want to spend to treat your partner for their birthday rather than just buying them a, boring Boots voucher? How much do you
Terry's chocolate orange.
Oh, yeah, that is a good present though.
Yeah,
but,
true.
If you could really treat somebody, how much would that cost? Like, think about all of those things and, literally write it down.
Yeah, don't just guess. Go away and do a bit of research. Have a think. Go research those bikini brands.
Totally.
The more specific you can be, the better in the long run.
Yeah. And these are the things that are some of them might be essential. You might have to go to somebody's wedding. Some of them are the things that you just want to do. You want to go on a nice holiday. But after you've looked at that, you want to look at what are the essentials that are going to make your life better, easier, nicer. So, for example, you might be driving around in an old banger and for ages you've been telling yourself that you want to buy a new car, but you can't really afford it. And you keep saying, when I can afford it, I'll buy a new car. But unless you actually make a plan to afford it, you're never going to get there. Like maybe your washing machine is on its way out and you know you need to buy a new one, but you're putting it off because you can't afford it now. You need to make that plan. What are all those things that next year would make your life better or easier?
So all the things that you would sit there going, I wish I had this, or
I'm so jealous that they've got that.
Yeah. I wish I had some nice old boots to wear on the way to school because my feet are cold. I wish I had a gym membership. I wish I could go swimming every morning. Whatever the things are that you see other people have and you think, God, I wish I had that would make my life a lot easier if I had that. Write it down because you can have that.
Yeah, definitely. And write it down and budget it out. Literally make a plan. How much is this going to cost me? Because otherwise, unless you know those numbers, you can't make a plan to actually bring in the money that you want for your business. And then, so those are your life first kind of stuff. But then you need to do the business stuff as well, because the business is what's going to make that happen. So what are the things that you need in your business to make it work better or to help it to make more money? So, for example, you might have your heart set on a new website because yours might be really rubbish. It might just be a one-pager, Maybe you've been eyeing up joining the Social Media Managers Toolkit next year. What are those things that you know that will help you to make your business work better, make it, easier for you to do things, help you to learn new things, all of those things? Like, what would be your wish list for your business? And write all of those things down as well. And what are the budgets for those things?
This is sounding like an incredible spreadsheet.
Oh, you do love a spreadsheet, don't you?
I do, yeah.
Maybe we should do this later.
Yeah, God, I think it might be a bit depressing of all the things I want to do.
This is the bit that you're going to like, though, because it's the maths. I hate the maths. So I need a formula to figure all this out for me. Whereas Laura will just go and get a calculator and be like, right, this is how much money I need to make.
See? Yeah.
She's actually got one now.
It's always by my side.
So yeah, you need to do the maths. You need to figure out, like, you should already know what that basic income is that you need to cover things like your mortgage, your food bill, your business expenses. All of that is a given. You should know that already. What we're talking about is all of the stuff that's on top of that, because this is about goal setting. Like, what are your goals? So what is the budget that you need to make those goals happen?
Yeah, and it's the money you need to make above and beyond those basic expenses. So, so say your personal income you need to take from the business, for argument's sake, say that's £1,000, and your business expenses are, say, £500. You then need to think, what else do I need above and beyond that £1,500 to contribute towards these goals that you want to achieve next year?
Yeah.
So it's you are going to have to. You need a calculator, quite frankly. So if you haven't got one, you need to add that to your budget list.
Get down to WH Smith's. Other shops
are available. We've all got one on our phones, haven't we?
Well, this is true. Actually, that is very true. Why do you have one on your desk?
Because you know what I'm like. If I picked up my phone every time I needed the calculator, I'd be on TikTok for 5 hours.
That is very true.
So get yourself a calculator if you're easily distracted.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the good thing about doing this task is that this means that you don't have to make choices. You don't have to be like, oh, well, I could have this or I could have that. Yeah. You get to have both. You get to have whatever it is you want.
You don't get to next summer and going, oh, well, I've just, you sat with your French stick and a cheese slice at home because you bought it from Sainsbury's because you've not been able to afford to go on holiday. Or you're not thinking, oh, hang on, I've got the money to go on holiday, and you realise that actually you've not looked at the actual cost of holidays and you haven't saved enough.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be looking back thinking, shit, I should have listened to the Lauras and done what they said.
I didn't just want the black bikini, I wanted the orange one too. Which one shall I have? You can have both. Just plan in advance.
Yeah. I don't think orange is your colour though.
No, it's definitely not. Well, bikini isn't my colour either, let's be fair. Bikini coloured. You've probably heard Laura and I say this before, but we, like lots of people, when they're approaching spending money and what they want to buy and all of that stuff, they kind of come into it with that scarcity mindset and they're like, oh, I can't afford that thing. Whereas we're very much the opposite, and we think about, how can I afford that thing? Like, yeah, we might not be able to afford it today, but what can I do to afford it tomorrow or next week or next month? And that's what this is about. It's not about thinking, oh, well, I will never be able to afford it. It's like, how can I make that plan to make that additional money or take that extra time out of the business so that I can do the things that I want to do?
Yeah. And it's about being bold, isn't it? Yeah. It's about saying, you know what? I deserve to have X, Y, Z. And so it's being like, it's allowing yourself to have that freedom. Now, yes, obviously we need to be realistic. If you're sat here not making any money and next year you're saying you want to make enough to buy a luxury yacht, then, you might need a slap. But
or a good lottery ticket.
Yeah.
But I remember a few years ago when you decided that you wanted to go to Lapland. And at that point, that was like, I wouldn't say it was a stretch for you, like in terms of like being able to do it, but it was a stretch for you, like mindset wise. Could I do that?
It was a stretch both.
Well, there you go. But you still decided that's what I'm going to do, and it was on your goal list, and you did it.
Yeah.
You didn't say to yourself, well, no, we're not the kind of family who can afford to do that. I'm not the sort of person who we would never be able to do that.
And I think that's it. If you've got a slight competitiveness about you, I think that's a good driver. Because
they need to go in a better hotel than you did.
No, it was like I was pissed off that other people were going to Lapland.
Right.
And it's like, well, why is everyone else going to Lapland? I want to go to Lapland. And my husband would be like, oh no, but it's a lot of money for 3 nights.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not asking for your help. I'm going to pay. And I'll never forget the conversation that I'm going to pay for it.
Yeah.
And he just went, all right then. And then I went into
and then
like
had
panic.
A jolly old time.
Yeah. And then we went and it was great. And the end.
I love that. But that all of this to say, you can't do any of this unless you actually do make a plan. Like, it's not just about Laura said, oh, I'm going to go to Lapland, and telling her husband that she's going to pay for it. Like, she had to actually make a plan to make that happen. It's not just going to happen because you set a goal. Yeah, definitely.
With my calculator.
So what is it you need to do to make that additional money? Like, really think about that. What is the plan? Is it that you need to take on another client who's paying you, 4 figures a month, and, that covers your annual thing and you're going to keep them for a whole year? Or is it that you're going to just put the price of your power hour up and you're going to sell more of those? What is the plan to make this extra money that you need to make?
Yeah, or you sit there and you've done the maths and you've used your calculator and you've figured out that you're halfway there, you've got maybe a $5,000 shortfall. What could you do? So this isn't just about doing what you do now and charging more or selling more of them. It could be that you're going to fill a hole. There's a whole new product or service or offer that you can create to help fill that hole. So it's not just about doing more of what you're already doing. You can think creatively. You can be like, right, I've got $5,000 I need to make. I've never done this before, but what I'd like to do is whatever. And then sit down and hatch a plan as to whether that's a viable option.
Yeah, love that. That's exactly what we would do. You'd be like, how are we going to make this money? Let's come up with something new, which probably isn't always the best way to do it. But, if you're that sort of way inclined, then go for it.
But you've got to, you've got to think, yes, you've got this goal and yes, I've got a $5,000 shortfall. But actually, if I just filled that with working with more clients, then is that achievable on the hours that you've got, on the life that you want to lead? Because we don't want to be burning out here because we'll never make it to Lapland or what have you. You've got to be realistic. And sometimes there are better ways to make money than just increasing what you're already doing.
Yeah, love that. And this will be different for everybody. Like, no two people listening to this podcast will have the same goals, the same aspirations, the same budgets that they need to try and, make. So, and that's one of the reasons that when we're talking about pricing and people like to say, oh, what's the going rate for this? Or how much are you charging for this? It doesn't matter. It's what you need to make. You need to make to cover these kind of bills and these kind of goals so you can pay for everything that you want to do. So put some time in your diary this week to do this, to sit down and figure out what it is you want to achieve. Like, have a chat with your partner if you need to. What it is that they see would be a great year for, for your family next year, for example. What are all those things? List them out, do the maths, figure out what you need to make, and then make a plan and get that done. You will thank yourself by this time next year if you've done this.
Yeah, and send us a postcard.
Yes, yes. No one ever sends postcards anymore.
I'd love it if everybody
I'm totally
sent
sending
us
you
a postcard from all of their holiday destinations because they did this
that would
task.
be amazing.
We could have a postcard wall all around the world of everyone who's gone places.
Oh, I love this. Yeah,
even if it's like Butlins.
Yeah,
I'm fine with it.
I'm totally sending you a postcard next time I go on holiday.
Oh, do. That's one. Anyone else? I'm happy to give my address out to the World Wide Web. Send me postcards or just tag me in a photo if that's easier.
Yeah, okay.
Modern day.
Easier than going and find somewhere that sells a stamp.
Yeah. But definitely, if this time next year, if you've done any of this, just, remember us. We don't need a thanks, but a tag would be nice.
Saying that, if you did listen to our goal setting podcast last year and you've achieved your goals, let us know that too. Like, we want to know. Yeah. Have you had a good year? Tell us everything, for sure.
Yeah, come and find us on Instagram. We're always hanging out there. We're at the 2 Lauras. So come send us a DM or tag us, obviously, on your holiday destinations or when you've bought your bikini. Just tag us in stories. It's fine.
Especially if you had to make a decision between black and orange.
Yeah, if you go for the orange bikini, I'd be particularly interested.
I know creepy, there's one person probably listening to this podcast who totally would buy an orange bikini.
Yeah, I'm totally going to tell him that he was mentioned in this podcast, and he's going to listen all the way through thinking, wonder why, and now he's at the end and it's because we've mentioned that he wants to buy an orange bikini.
I love it. Anyway, that was that. I hope this has been useful, and come and let us know, and we will be back same time, same place next week, and we'll see you there. Toodles.
Bye.